if we look at the skull of frog, it is composed of upper jaw, lower jaw, and upper jaw. It is composed of premaxilla, anterior most one half, then is the maxilla, and then is quadratojugal, and there are certain internal bones also. In addition to that, inner set of membranous bones, these are palatine, pterygoid, and squamosal. Whereas the lower jaw, it is made up of dentary, ankylosplenial, articular, and anterior part of the Meckel's cartilage, that is ossified, and that is called as mentomechilian cartilage. That forms the lower jaw. And most importantly is the hyoid apparatus of frog. Hyoid apparatus of frog located in the floor of the buccal cavity, and it consists of a squarish plate, this kind of squarish plate having certain pairs of four pairs of certain processes, some large, some shorter. Anterior lateral process is also called as alar process. At the posterior end is posterolateral process. In addition to that processes, there are interior processes, also called as interior coronae. So these are interior corona. Similarly, posterior processes called as posterior coronu, and the anterior corona is fused with that of the auditory capsule, while the posterior one run on either side of the glottis. In addition to that, the visceral skeleton has columella oris, it is the modified hyomandibular arch, and it is present in the cavity of the middle ear, because the frogs, they are advanced as compared to amphibians, are advanced as compared to the fishes, having been moved from water to land. And in case of fishes, there is only internal ear present, whereas in case of amphibians, in addition to internal ear, middle ear is present, external ear is, and the external ear is absent. So that makes the difference. That is why, and moreover, otic capsule that develops an opening which is called as fenestra vallis. So all these modifications are there in case of amphibians. And hyoid apparatus, in addition to hyoid or apparatus, the important part of the visceral skeleton is the columella oris. So what is columella oris? Columella oris is a part which is present in the middle ear. It is also called as stapedial organ, right? It is called as stapedial plate. So how it looks like, it is basically it is connected with that of the ear. It is connected with that of the tympanum. It is just single ossicle, and it is connected with that of the how we make it, columella oris. This is the tympanum, okay, and this is the columella oris, which is connected to the internal ear. So this is the columella oris, and its purpose is to conduct the send the sound waves from the middle ear to the internal ear. That is the role of columella oris. If we look at the reptiles, now we compare the visceral skeleton of reptiles. So they have the skull of reptile has many changes over amphibians. Extensive ossification of the neurocranium is there. Bones are comparatively denser. There is one occipital condyle as compared to dicondylic head of the dicondylic head skull of the amphibians. Dermal bones are more. And if we look at the visceral skeleton of amphibians, what happens in visceral skeleton? It is present in form of similarly like that of others, upper jaw, amphibians, then is the lower jaw, and suspensorium is there, and of course the hyoid apparatus is there. We would focus more on hyoid apparatus. So upper jaw is immovably fixed with that of the cranium, and it has two halves which are joined together anteriorly, and each jaw is formed of again similar way. It is made up of maxilla, it is made up of premaxilla, maxilla, premaxilla, and jugal bones. And lower jaw is again made up of two halves. These are dentary, angular, supraangular, articular, coronoid, and splenial, right? Suspensorium is made up of quadrate and squamosal bone, which help in suspension of the lower jaw to upper jaw as well as the cranium. We would focus on the hyoid apparatus of the reptiles that supports the tongue and floor of the buccal cavity. It is totally a cartilaginous structure, and it consists of hyoid apparatus. For example, of Varanus, it consists of an elongated structure, median rod-like structure, which is called as like this structure. It is called as the basihyal, and from basihyal originate certain structures. One is the anterior coronae, a pair of anterior coronae. Then are the pair of posterior coronae or posterior horn. So these are the structures of hyoid apparatus. When we look at the structures in aves, what happens in aves? Avian skull is fundamentally similar to that of the reptiles, but it requires certain modifications. It is unusually light due to pneumatic bones. Neurocranium is compact due to fusion of bones. Skull is attached to atlas vertebra at right angle. And premaxillae, dentary maxillae, they are elongated and they are covered over by epidermis to form the beak. These are main differences. And the visceral skeleton, if you look at the visceral skeleton of the birds, that is avian skull, that is composed avian in case of aves, that is formed of similarly upper jaw, lower jaw, and the hyoid apparatus, while premaxillae of two sides are joined to form the upper beak. Similarly, lower jaw looks like V-shaped, and it is a pair of long curved halves. Each half is made up of articular, angular, supraangular, dentary, splenial bone, similar to that of the reptiles, except for coronoid is present there. But we would focus on the hyoid apparatus of birds. How it looks like. Hyoid apparatus, it supports the tongue, and it is made up of bones as well as of the cartilages, and it is formed of a median arrow-shaped structure. This kind's median arrow-shaped structure, which is ceratohyle. It is called as entoglossal, and then it bears at posterior end anterior cornu. Behind this arrow-shaped structure, which is modified ceratohyle, is the basihyle. Behind basihyle is urohyle, and on sides of urohyle are ceratohyle. Urohyle is basically basihyle, which is it is basibranchial cartilage, and behind on the sides are two ceratobranchials on either side, which form the posterior cornea, and it is joined with epibranchial. So posterior portion is epibranchial, this is the ceratobranchial. So together they are forming the posterior coronae. So this is the structure of hyoid apparatus of the birds, and that is all for now.